Hey guys, it's another Saturday morning / afternoon, and I'm back at the pocket kit, the CPP pocket kit with the RideTech StreetGRIP. Putting those together, the composite leaf springs along with the pockets. I thought I'd show you guys what I've been working on today so you guys can see my thought process. All right, so here we go. So this is what the pocket looks like when it's installed, right? This is not installed, it's just sitting here. But, so I guess I Tim Allen things a little too much sometimes. But I was thinking, when I weld this, you can see that the wall of the frame is really thin compared to the thickness of the metal being used in the, or the steel being used in the pocket kit. So I'm gonna have to heat this up first when I weld it, and then I'm just gonna, the way it's set up is you just perimeter weld around, around the whole thing. Well, I just didn't feel like, I don't know, like I said, Tim Allening it, it was going to, that it gives you enough attachment, I guess. It's not adhered enough or welded, you know, it's just not attached to the frame as much as I would like it to be. So what I'm doing is I drilled, I'll show you on the other side. I have a little template, and I am going to cut 2 slits right here in the frame. I drilled holes in the end of it right here on each end so that when I cut it out, it's going to have a rounded end right here. And I'm going to weld the pocket to the frame on each side. So it'll be on this side, and then on this side, I'm going to plug weld. They're these original holes, and I don't know exactly what they're used for. The only two that I'll be able to use will be these 2 right here and this one. And I'm not sure if they have something to do with the shocks or whatever. Either way, the pocket kit is going to cover them. So I can re-drill the holes if I need to, but I'm going to have to drill into the pocket kit either way. So I'm just going to plug weld these up so that I've got strength. It's going to be attached, so the pocket kit will be attached on the upper part of the front, or in this case, the lower bottom portion of the frame, and it'll also be plug welded on this side and then there. And then on the top side underneath, can't show you right now, I'm going to also, right along along this portion right here, the front of the pocket is where it touches. And I'll show you here. This is better with here we go. Here's my template. So you can see right here, this is where the pocket, this is a template that I drew. So you can see what it looks like, that I drew from the pocket kit itself. I took it and traced the outside of it, made my own little template, because you don't get one when you order the kits. They don't, at least CPP doesn't offer one. So I just took it, made my own, and from that, you can see I made my little template for the cuts. And then when I line it up, and as you can see, there's still that ridge that I'm going to have to, from the other YouTube videos I've seen, everybody has to trim off the top of it or grind it down or whatever you want to say. But, so I'm going to cut these areas out right here, so it'll be attached on the side here, on the inside, as well as on the top. So where the pocket kit is flush with the top of the frame here, I'm going to also weld it there so that the pocket kit, I know it's firm, I know it's stable and everything. Plus it'll be bolted in as well, so it's not going to go anywhere when I'm done. Like I said, I Tim Allen things sometimes, so that's what I'm doing. I'll put the all thread back in as soon as I get these holes cut in here, and I get everything ground down on the sides so that I have good welding surfaces all the way around. You can see inside of these holes, I did take a little Dremel, and I put my Dremel in there, and I ground them all down, so those are all done. You can see right here on this one, it's all ground down and everything's good to go. So yeah, so be good to go and moving forward. So that's what's going on. I think I'm also going to plug weld this guy on the outside here as well. So I'll clamp it together, and then, so it's going to, once I put the pocket kit in, it's not coming out. So it's going to be permanently a part of the frame. So yeah, and a lot of rigidity. We'll have a lot more rigidity. All right, guys, so I'll bring you guys back as I get everything dialed in and show you guys what I'm doing. All right, guys, so here's an update on where I am now. I've got the holes, the sides cut in, those little slits I told you guys about. I'll be clamping this down and welding those into place, but I don't want to do any welding, like final welding, or at least making sure the pocket kit's installed until I have everything done ahead of time that I want to get done. I added something different. In the CPP pocket kit, there is an additional bolt hole to move the leaf spring down. I think it's it is for ride height and probably helps, I don't know, different suspension settings. So I wanted to make that accessible. If I just went with the original bolt hole that you normally put in, then that bolt hole down at the bottom would not be accessible. Now, in doing so, my measurements weren't exactly right, so I had to elongate the hole a little bit. But I feel that with the washers that I have in here, right here, and on the other side over here, and I'm going to perimeter weld this all the way around, that it's going to be plenty solid, along with the perimeter weld here of the pocket kit itself, putting in a small or a weld on the top here. This is the top of the frame. It is upside down. And then putting in these additional welds and the plug welds over here, that it's going to be plenty sturdy enough if this bolt isn't in right here, the top bolt, and just has the bottom bolt if he wants to drop it down. You'll notice it also looks like it's moved forward just a little bit. This additional bolt goes forward just a little bit. So that's what we're looking at. You got the two different placements of the bolts there. I have to buy a little bit longer grade 8 bolts to work with the kit, but yeah, there we go. The other side I still have to put in. Now you'll notice that the other side, it's protruding right there, the end of it, whereas this side I have it sunk down, and where it's going to be when it's welded, once I finally weld it in. And like most people, I'm going to have to trim this part down or grind this part down right up here. But I think everything's going to work out. I think we're looking pretty good, getting close to that final part of starting to burn it in. I'm going to have to make sure to turn my welder up and make sure that I heat up the thickness of the pocket steel before I get into this. Otherwise, I think I'm not going to get a good weld. So that's what's going on. All right, next time you guys see it, it'll either be welded in or I'll be welding. All right, guys, welcome back. There's my contraption. Okay. So sprayed some 3M weld through primer on the pocket itself, or the insert and the inside of the frame. Vacuumed it all out, got everything good to go, and got the pocket kit down where I need it to be on both sides. Got the all thread running through, made sure, checked the sides. I'm about 0.5 on each side, and there's a little bit of slop in the washer, so I can manipulate it to move it up and down a little bit just to get it to 0. So for our tolerances, I think that's going to work out just fine. I've got both bolts set up here. I got everything clamped down, and we're going to do some welding on it. So I'm going to do a couple test welds. I had to jump up to 240 volt on it, so do the thicker gauge because this is so much thicker. So I'm going to give it a shot, and on some test steel I have sitting over here, right down there, and run a couple little passes on that, see if I'm getting good penetration, see how the welder's doing, and then I'll get in here and get this guy going. Might give this just a little, well, see, on this side right here, I guess you'd say it's proud. It's up just a little bit, but then on the exterior of the frame, it is right at where I need it to be. So I was thinking about knocking that down a little bit, but I don't think so. I think I'm going to just leave it where it is. Everything's lined up, all the bolts, everything's through where they need to be. So, all right, I'll do little passes. I'm going to tack it in first. I'll probably come back, show you guys when I'm done tacking, and then if everything's going well on the steel, then I'll videotape some, but I don't want you guys to see all the mistakes I'm going to make. So, all right, we'll see how it goes. All right, guys, initial tacks are in. We're sitting at 0.15, which there's a little bit of play here. See if I can, with the washer, not so much the all thread, but there's a little bit of play that I can move, but I think that's within tolerance. The initial tacks are in on this side, so got everything. There was one that I missed over here. That one, I think, right there. But the others are doing pretty good. Got it all tacked in. I was going to try to crimp this in, then I realized if I was pulling this part of the exterior part of the frame in towards the pocket itself or the insert, then I would be changing the dimension. I'd be pulling it this way, and I didn't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up the weld along here and then along the back and then here to take up those gaps. But everything else, the clamps worked really well. We're down, I mean, tight all the way around, completely tight. There's one little spot right here that I can kind of get my fingernail into, so I'll clamp that down and tack that guy in. But everything else looks really, really good. So on to the next stage. So I'm going to take these guys over on the side here, and I'll fill these guys in. I'll put clamps in there, squish it down, make sure I'm touching, but everything has been tacked in. I did a plug weld here on this guy. I'll do a plug weld on that guy as well, and then I'll do a plug weld in the center here. I'll just get, but I've got to make sure to get the steel, you know, in the center really, because thicker gauge, get that hot and then move my way around. And then I don't think these pockets are going, or these inserts are going anywhere in the pocket. They're going to be pretty stuck. Everything is still movable where we want it. We're within tolerance on both sides. I've taken and set it. Let's see here. I've done this lately. Have to check that in just a minute. All right, but yeah, that's what we're looking at, guys. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Here we go. Just thought I'd show you. So we're sitting at 0.1 as far as level on the pocket. I have it sitting directly on, or the insert of the pocket. So looking good. Everything's looking good. I'll get this done and go on to the other side. I'm going to tack the other side first, and then I'll come back and finish this one up. Okay, guys, I thought I'd show you me putting in a couple tacks, and a little more exciting than just kind of end result. So here we go. I think that's going to get me up. Okay, here we go. All right, so here we go. The other side came out really good, so I'm hoping everything goes well for this side. We'll see. I'm going to start up at the top and just space my welds out, or tacks out. All right, we're moving. That did not sound good. All right, now we're going to. Whew. There we go, much better. Now I'm going to put one more here, and then I'm going to change the clamps around. There we go. All right, try to heat up that base metal there. It looks like we're okay. Tack string. I'm going to plug weld this side over here real quick. That works. And then I want to clamp that a little tighter, but let's put another one in right here. This one missed right here. Let's try this one. There we go. I got it that time. All right. Okay. My little clip-a-doodles here. Get rid of all the danglers. Okay, let's do a little level check here. See how we're sitting over here. Let's see here, we're at 0.25 right now. Let's see, what side are we going to here? And that's pretty darn close. Yep, so there's a lot of slop in the washer. Looks like I'll move it. Yes, pull just a little bit, but not much. Yeah, still sitting at 0.25. Let's see what the inside's looking at here. 0.05, 0.05, 0.1. We're good. We're good to go. All right, and let's see our last one. Let's set this guy right up here on the center. What's going on here? Oh, okay. It's not sitting on it right here. All right, so I'll have to check that because that's going way over. So that side needs to drop down a little bit, looks like. All right, cool. Couple little changes and nothing that a ball peen won't fix. All right, guys, I'll call you back in just a sec. A little gentle persuasion, and we're sitting at 0.5 to 0. Good to go. All right, so I'll tack the rest of this in. I've got some areas like down here that I need to squish in and tack and get these guys down here. But yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. Everything's coming together. Hopefully tonight I'll have this all tacked in and welded in. I don't think I'll have it ground down, but at least I'll have it all welded in by the end of tonight or this evening. And yeah, pretty stoked. Pretty stoked. We're coming together. Thanks, guys. I'll let you see what it looks like once all this contraption's taken apart. Hey, guys. I'm back. Last video you saw was last night. I was working on this guy down here. Okay, I got everything welded in and ran into a couple little problems. Just me learning metal and so forth. But so I was able to weld everything in. Take these out here real quick. These composite leaf springs. I don't want them to get damaged. Hold on just a second. I'm just setting this guy down here. There we go. Okay. All right. So, yeah, looks like so I know it was hot enough. I just don't think I was moving fast enough, or the wire speed was turned up too high. So I think that's why I have the huge buildup that I have. However, I did get penetration. You can see along the back here, right over here, that I got penetration, and it's gonna stick. These side holes. Now, these slats that I put in, and I was going back on the puddle here, and yeah, looks horrible. It'll all be ground down. But anyway, I started out, I was do just a couple little ones, and then on this side, I would weld about, I don't know, about half an inch or so, or maybe an inch, and then I would cool it down with the air and go over to the other side, do something on that one, then come back over here. Even though I was doing that, these longer holes that I put here ended up heating the metal, and I don't know if you can see this, but when it cooled, it sucked it in on that side. Now over here, where I put in the little plug welds, these did the same, but not nearly as much as they did on the other side. So in retrospect, and you can see here, I got good penetration all the way along. I should have, or if I were to do it again, I would do a bunch of plug welds just along here, right? And I would do the same thing on the other side. I'd put plug welds in down below, and I think that would help it out a lot. Not nearly as much shrinking, you know, and heat. Just putting that much heat into it, I just was not happy. So this side, however, was not that bad, and I'll show you what I mean by not that bad. In other words, the leaf spring is able to move, you know, freely in the pocket. Everything's fine in the sleeve. Now this sleeve, on the other hand, was not that good because, I just decided when I was over here on this weld that I would just continue and I would just weld it down and around, and I would weld this one, and I put so much heat into it that it sucked it way in. And this morning, thinking about it all day at church, and got home, and so it literally, when I put the leaf spring in, it would get caught right here and it wouldn't move. And now you can see down below, it still has a little bit where the bushing, Delrin bushing down here, but it really doesn't matter because the leaf spring is never going to get down to this position anyway. However, just to show you guys what was happening. So it really sucked it in a lot. So what I had to do, and I don't have a torch, so I can't, you know, heat up the metal and then bend it. So I decided to use a little leverage, and broke it right off. It says forged on it, but the forged steel just couldn't handle the pressure. So ended up using a pipe wrench with a little bit of leverage on it, and put it on there and pushed, and I was able to get it. Now it's freely. I mean, when I put it there originally, because it had sucked it in, it had pulled it over, and it wasn't lining up exactly perfect because the sleeve itself had moved in a little bit, so it changed the overall angle of the leaf spring itself, so it was over here. Now it has what it originally had with the pockets. When I originally put this leaf spring into the pocket, I had a little bit of play back and forth, and that's what I have now. So what I will do then, now today I'm going to do some grinding, and I'll grind all of these little sharp edges off here. You can see where I got a hold of it here and pulled a little too hard on there, but I'll grind all this down. It'll look fine. The other thing I had thought about doing was grinding the sleeve down to match the frame. Well, there really isn't any need to do that. The sleeve is thick. The frame itself, the wall thickness of the frame, or in other words, the frame wall, is welded to the sleeve. So, and this part of the sleeve is never going to hit the ground, so there's no reason to take that down. So I'm just going to flatten this stuff out as much as I can on the side, make it look as pretty as I can with the grinder, and that'll be it. So the other thing I learned when doing this, and you guys that are professional welders will not have this problem because you know how to, it works really well for you. And so anyway, obviously it was out of the heat. You guys could probably tell exactly what was happening here, but I think I wasn't going fast. I don't think I was moving fast enough, and it was just puddling up, and the wire was just puddling up. But I did learn something. When I was down on the end here, there was a little bit of a gap, so I used the dab technique, and that's where you create a puddle, then stop, create a puddle right next to it, and stop. And that turned out, and that looks beautiful. Around here, around there, it looks 100% better using the dab technique. So if I were to do it again, I would do small sections using the dab technique, just getting that puddle nice and hot, and then moving just little increments, then go into the next one. Same thing over here. I use the puddle technique coming around here and right down here. You know, it looks a lot better. Looks nicer anyway than it did before. And I can lay a little bead down on, metal that's the same thickness, but I was worried about, and I did have a little area down here I blew through, and this is where I started dabbing. So it blew through right here, and so I built up some metal on the sleeve itself and then dabbed and went, wow, that actually came out pretty nice. So then once I got that, then I just started doing the dab, and then when I came over to this end, then I just did the dab technique and it worked better. So I probably would have done that if I were to do this again, or if someone has me, work on their Tri-5, then I probably would do that. The other thing, put this washer over here. I wanted to get it. It was late at night. I was going to film, guys, but it was just, I was tired. It was late. I wanted to get in, spend some time with my wife, and this washer, I wanted to get this washer, welded in so it wasn't moving anywhere. And I didn't take my time. I let the heat build up, and the washer itself moved a little bit. Now I had all thread in here, so it wasn't moving anywhere, and you guys can see that in the video. I had the all thread coming through, so it didn't change the angle of the bolt, the bolt hole that's coming through. However, the washer itself moved a little bit, and when it did that, then let me take this off here in one hand. When it did that, it bound the all thread in, so it was kind of a pain in the butt to get out. I had to use a hacksaw on the part of it, and I got in here with a drill and just ran the drill through. I didn't cut into the sleeve itself because I didn't want to mess with the angle in the sleeve. That once I had the sleeve in, that was solid, and I knew it was level. Everything was fine. But this washer, I should have just taken my time and just done gone to the other washer on the other side. I've done all the washers are in. I'm waiting to get some roll-lock grinding disc so that I can grind that down nice and neat in there. So it looks nice. And then I'm probably going to grind this down right here for the secondary bolt and grind the end off of a washer and then put just a portion of the washer right here. Just weld it on, tack it on here, so that if my dad does choose to change to the different ride height, or if that's changes the suspension in any way, he can do that. I do know, like, as you can see, they are offset a little bit, so it moves it forward and down when you go to the other one. So if any of you guys know exactly why they have that second hole other than ride height, please let me know if it has something to do with performance of your leaf springs or whatever it might be. So anyway, we are good to go. That part is done. I just have to finish it up, weld it down, get it all ground. I'm sorry, not weld it down, but grind it down, and that'll be good to go. Next weekend, I will start working on this back section. I've got my templates for them, and here is the C-notch that goes into here. And if you've seen Montana Garage, he goes through and he talks about his and the difference between the reverse eye right here that I have. And I think, like I said before, one of my neighbors has a torch. I might bend this end down just a little bit because I don't want the end of the leaf spring to hit this bottom section right here. So, but I did make some little templates. Let's see if I can go find them here. You guys can go on a journey with me. Here we go, walking over here. Okay. Here we go. Here's my little template box. These were the tops of the pocket inserts that I made. And let's see here. Here we go. All right, this is passenger side. Oh, on a side note, check this out. Woo-hoo, Master Power Brakes. Finally got disc brakes for Grandpa D. I can put the StreetGRIP system on now this summer or springtime. We're getting up to spring. That's what I want my dad's 55 to look like. Same ride height. Gonna put meats in the back. That's what it'll look like. Hard top when we're done. That's what I'm hoping for. But I got disc brakes, so I'm stoked. Hey. All right. And I'll do a whole video on unboxing that stuff, and I'll post it to the to the playlist for Grandpa D. But just so you guys can see what's going on here, over here, there's the rear end that has the purchase for the trailing arms that I got off of my donor chassis. So those disc brakes will go on here. I'll clean it all up, paint it, and yeah, get it all taken care of, get the disc brakes ready, and then this spring finally get some friends over so we can lift the bed off and drill all the holes. If you haven't seen Rusty Wrenches, please check out Rusty Wrenches. He has a great YouTube channel, and he goes through and does the leaf spring to trailing arm conversion in his C10, which is, and LS, and amazing wires, and he's just a super cool guy. So check out his channel. So this is what it looks like, guys. So when that's on there, that's what the C will look like when it's cut out. I just have to get the exact measurements, know how far down I'm going to place it, and then cut it out and weld it in. This time I will use the dab technique on this guy, so hopefully it looks a lot better when I get these guys burned in. And on this part, I'll show you guys, there's one part right here that you don't cut the top off. You actually just run a slit up along, and then you drop it down, and it meets up to this backside. So when this guy's sitting up in here like that, and then it drops down to it. So you can see this is deep. This goes all the way. I mean, if I were to set it like that, wow, I mean, there's not much of frame left under there. So I'm gonna have to get the exact measurements before I do some cutting on this guy. Alrighty, guys, so just showing you what I've got and what's going down, and I'll grind this guy down, and then I'm gonna call it a day, spend some time with my wife and do some prepping and that. So a little grinding action. I'll show you guys what it looks like when I get done, and then we're gonna be done for the Sunday. All right, thanks for checking it out, guys. I'll be back in just a bit. Okay, guys, here we go, done for the weekend. I'll show you what the pocket kits look like. So all ground down. Still some lumpies on the side on this one, but didn't want to take it down too far because I didn't want to get into the wall of the frame itself. The sleeve for the pocket is in good. Still have to put in little washers down for the bottom part, but everything's cleaned up, ground down, and here, let's look at the other one. So plug welds ground down, sides are ground down. Turned out really nice. I'm proud of it. I mean, it's not like professional welders would do by any means, but it is welded, it is solid, and I tried to make it look as nice as I possibly could. I know no one will be underneath, and this is not going to be a show car, but you know, you just want it to look nice. So yeah, I've got all the penetration, you can see there. Everything's in, and the coolest part of all, here we go. Composite street grip leaf springs go in perfectly. I was worried about this from the get-go, and there they go. And they're nice and easy, slide up and down. Plenty of movement, not gonna hit. I'll go ahead and put this one in. See if I can do it with one hand here. Use my legs. I might not be able to do this with one hand, we'll see. Yeah, probably not gonna happen, but give it a shot. Okay, so anyway, I'll put you guys up here while I put these together here. Hold on just a second. Get my little thing here. Okay, now you guys can kind of see over there while I get this guy put together. Just fine a second ago. That's weird. I'll come back to that one. All right, let's get this guy put in. All right, that guy's in. Here we go. On to the other one. Find out what's going on with that other side. Why it's not lining up. There we go. The leaf leaf spring was sitting sideways. Okay. Okay, so composite leaf springs, look at how light they are. A later video I'll show you guys what an original leaf spring looks like. Well, you all know what they look like, but the difference in weight and performance is going to change this entire vehicle. Pocket kits are in, nice and strong. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked, I've been wanting to do this for years. I've had this pocket kit sitting, kid you not, in its box for probably 4 years, 5 years maybe. So I originally bought it for Rusty. And then when my dad bought his 55, I went, yeah, this is going to work. I had Rusty before he bought this one. My father's original car was a 55 post. Now I'm forgetting the numbers, and lack of sleep. You have the 210 and the 5. Anyway, it was the businessman's coupe, and I don't know for the life of me, I can't remember. Why can't I think of the numbering for it? Anyway, the business coupe, it didn't have a back seat. He had a straight 6 in it, but he put on the window on the driver's side, I think, that it had a Corvette 327, and just my whole life I've grown up with stories of that, so I was pretty happy when we were able to find him this car that we could build for him. He's wanted another 55 for years. He had, when I was a little kid, he had a 69 Corvette Stingray convertible with a 427. They had a Crower cam put in and had it bored over, and it was, yeah, it was crazy, crazy. He also had a Barracuda and a bunch of other cars, but the 52 Ford and Mustangs and other things. But yeah, this has been a dream for him for years and years and years, so I'm so grateful to be able to work on it for him and move forward. So we'll see you guys next weekend. I'll be working on the backside, hopefully get those C-notches cut out. I probably won't get them welded in, but cut out and start to move forward on that. And it's coming together, piece by piece. It's coming together. If you haven't checked out Kyle Phillips' YouTube channel, check it out. His 56 and his dad's 55 SpeedTech chassis, they are insane, insane. He also has a really cool video on his YouTube channel where he talks about his, he performed, I think it was on Optima, Search for the Ultimate Street Car. He had a stock chassis that he put pocket kits in and did a whole bunch of work to, and it was competitive with the old chassis. So you really can build up these older chassis. Yeah, an Art Morrison or SpeedTech or a Roadster Shop would be fantastic, but if you don't have the money to do that, there are things in the aftermarket that can definitely get you pretty close, especially going out and having fun. So thanks, guys. Check out Half Rodz builds. Check out Montana Garage, Rusty Wrenches, 55 210, and we will see you guys later. Thanks, guys.